What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Global Leaders Roundtable Live, where we build conversations that cut right through the noise and awaken voices for major impact on behalf of the kingdom of God. I'm your host, Kenyon R. Dudley, and my life's work is to say something that transforms someone's thinking, to say something that's going to help them transcend beyond limitations and borders, to say something to hopefully help them be introduced to God and their purpose that is found in Him. I am actually coming to you live right now. I'm actually on travel. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia, on a speaking engagement, but I had to stop and have this conversation with a new friend, actually. We've got an opportunity to kind of sit together during one of our, what he calls, I love how he calls it, a virtual coffee session. And we had an opportunity to just kind of meet each other. He's on one side of the nation here in the United States. I'm on the other side. But let me tell you, I can tell that this guy is kingdom minded. He has a heart of gold, but most of all, he has yielded to the power of God, the direction of Holy Spirit in his business, in his speaking career. So you want to hang tight. We are about to have a very, I believe, meaningful and valuable conversation, which is why I stopped everything to jump on with him. We've had this set up for so long. And so I'm so glad that he said yes. And we are finally here today to have this conversation. I wasn't going to let anything stop it. All right. So do me a favor. We are live. Go ahead and tag, like, and share as I welcome you over there on Facebook, as I welcome you over there on our YouTube channel, the TGLR Network, which stands for the Global Leaders Roundtable Network. Thank you so much for being over there on LinkedIn. We're going to have this show actually uploaded and ready and available on our Spotify channel as well later in the week. And so I'm super excited that everywhere we have our digital footprint right now with the Global Leaders Roundtable, everywhere that we have that is plugged into this conversation that we are about to have. Make sure you tag, like, and share. Let other leaders, entrepreneurs, kingdom-minded people who know that they have a purpose and a call, make sure you tag them and let them know that you're a part of this conversation. They do not want to miss it, and neither do you. Listen, I believe that this platform exists for one reason. It is to gather leaders who are done with performing, right? Who are ready to lead with purpose. If you're watching this tonight, I want you to lock in, because this conversation is not just about performance and influence, but it is about alignment. All right. Just a few announcements before we jump over into the conversation. You know, we have so many things that's happening behind the scenes of not just this podcast, but the Global Leaders Roundtable is a movement. That's what I'm telling people. It is a movement. So many things are going on. Listen, we have a Global Leaders Virtual Summit that's coming up later in the year, September the 20th through the 21st. And we're going to be talking about global kingdom leadership. That's the topic. And guys, we have over 65 kingdom speakers that will be converging in one place, and they will be sharing their thoughts, their big idea. They're going to be sharing their leadership strategies. They're going to be sharing their leadership journey and stories. All of the above will be on this actual virtual summit, and you do not want to miss it. We've got folks from South Africa, London, Germany, Canada, all over the United States and abroad, even Australia. They're going to be here talking to you about the things that matter, the things that will help you be not only influential, but also impactful, and also help you be able to increase in your area of income as well as you do the thing that God has called you to do. So you want to learn more about the Global Leaders Virtual Summit, make sure you go to bit.ly/TGLR Virtual Summit now to get more information on tickets. And also, if you want to be a speaker, we've got one more week, and we're going to close it down by for accepting speakers. You can apply to become a speaker as well. All right, we have a good conversation for you, and I don't want to belabor the time. We've got so much to discuss and so little time. So let's go ahead and get my friend right here to the virtual round table. All right. I see many of you guys coming in. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to introduce him as you keep on tagging and liking and letting people know to come into the conversation tonight. Devin Schubert is an internationally acclaimed coach, speaker, international best-selling author, and multi-award winning entrepreneur. His journey to success has been nothing short of remarkable. He stood out among over 100,000 applicants on not one, but guys, two entrepreneurial reality TV shows, proving that excellence paired with authenticity gets noticed. But Devin didn't stop there. He launched Influence Academy, a coaching platform that equips leaders to speak boldly, show up powerfully, and shift atmospheres through their story. His work has placed him on stages alongside, get this, guys, Eric Thomas, E.T., Pat Quinn, and Willie Robertson. And now, with his latest endeavor, School of Influence, he's helping 1 million people share their stories through his Stories to Stages Legacy Project. And yet, his greatest calling is fatherhood. His adoption of 3 children reflects the heart behind his influence and his love for God. His influence is not all about just winning, right? But it's all about transforming lives at home and in the world. Guys, do me a favor. Give me some fire emojis, some clapping symbols over there in the chat. Help my new friend feel welcome here at the virtual round table, Mr. Devin Schubert. What's going on, sir?
My man, I'm gonna cut that clip out and just put it before every single one. That was awesome. It almost brought me to tears because a lot of the things are these are great accomplishments, but when you say that fatherhood thing, you talk about that transformation of our kids, man, that just lights me up every time. So thank you for this. I'm excited.
Oh man, listen, I understand. I too am a father and I get it. Nothing trumps, right? Our babies. Nothing trumps, the love that we have for those kids that God gave us stewardship over, right? For whatever the season is that he gave us stewardship over. Let me tell you, brother, I have actually watched you. We've had this talk scheduled for a few months, but I've had the pleasure of just in passing as I'm working and doing my thing, kind of look over into your world and see what you're doing. and your kids are all over, the world that you are leading. And so thank you for being who you are in that vein.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. Talk to me about who you are. Let's officially introduce you from your perspective. I've done the best that I could, but why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers tonight? What part of the world are you in? And what exactly does God have you doing right now, Devin?
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm kind of on my own little island. I'm in this place called Iowa in the
Yeah,
United States, in Central America, or Central the United States, and it's blazing hot here.
really.
But the AC is running really well. It was about 100 degrees out today, but no matter what, I got the orange jacket on. I'm also known as the man in orange. And
Yes.
it was funny as we just did I have a contract, and we just did a bunch of evaluation things. They were giving feedback on me. And some of the people didn't even know my real name. They just said the man in orange. That's how they referred to me.
Right. You branded that well then. I
Yeah,
love it.
it's fun. It's fun. When it comes to branding and
Right.
becoming, who we are,
Yeah.
I love stories, and you kind of talked about that. But
Yeah.
people always say, tell me about the orange. What's the story about the orange? I
Yeah.
love telling stories. So they're like leaning forward. They're ready to hear this story about this great thing of orange. I'm like, yeah, it was my high school colors. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
But I'm telling you, it's brilliant though. It's brilliant what you've done because like the man in orange, right? It first of all, orange is so eye-catching and captivating. And so it's brilliant how you have branded that. It's no wonder why you work with speakers and you work with them, building their influence and brand. You know what you're doing. There's something to your work, man. You know what you're doing.
Well, and here's the thing. It's not just about the orange, because I get
Yeah.
stuff sent to me. I thought about wearing these when I saw your glasses the first time we met. We got a little bit of clear. I mean, come on, we're right here.
Yo,
Come on, we're like matching, bro.
come on, I love that.
But it's not just about what people see
Yeah,
on the outside. Yes, people see orange and they think of me. They send me stuff all the time. But this is what they feel. They
right.
feel loved. They feel seen. They
Mm,
feel heard. And when they feel those things, when they see orange, that is when you know that you are making a kingdom impact,
yeah.
because you're transforming lives.
I totally agree with you on this, man. And I am watching you literally change lives. And I so appreciate God using you um, in the space of speaking, but also in the marketplace, the way that He's using you, which is all the more reason why I'm excited about this conversation. Um, let's jump right in. You are all of these things that I've named, you have had an opportunity to be on stages with some of the most notable names in the speaker world. You have had the opportunity to build businesses and help coach and mentor speakers and things of that nature. Where did this all begin for you? How did you get into this world?
Yeah, I would say it started at a young age. Actually, I was challenged at a very about my teenage years, about 14. I was a leader. I was a
Mhm.
leader in the church, but the problem is that I was your typical 14-year-old boy. I was
Mhm.
burping, farting, crawling underneath the pews, hiding inside the piano. I mean, come on.
Right.
I was all over the place.
Yeah.
And we had this youth pastor come in, and he pulled me aside one time, and he said, Devin, you're a leader,
Yeah.
but you have a choice to make. He said, are you going to lead people to heaven, or are you going to lead people to hell? Either way, you're leading people, and the choice is yours, and all the responsibility falls on you. And I said,
Wow.
ooh,
Wow.
man. And although I didn't change the burping, the farting, and all that kind of stuff, I
Yeah.
still did all that because I was a teenage boy.
Right.
But what I did is I brought people alongside of me, and we ran together of what it looked like to build the kingdom. And I recognized the power of relationships,
Mhm.
what relationships mean in the kingdom, what the relationship means for building a business, for building speakers, for
Yeah.
everything. I believe that many people value the currency of money
Mhm.
more than they value the currency of relationship.
Mm.
I want to say that I would much rather have 10 amazing friends that are
Yeah.
diehard friends than $1 million.
I agree.
Why? Because I believe that those 10 people could share your $1 million project, and you could easily have $10 million in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah. I say it like this and have said it like this, that relationships is a currency as well. Like money is not the only currency that you can have, right? Relationships is a currency. And when you know how to steward those relationships, first of all, when you know how to land the right relationships, right? And then when you know how to steward those relationships, it makes your world and your meaning that much more effective. I won't say valuable because we're valuable regardless, but it makes it that much more effective in what God wants you to do. And I see that you really believe this because of how you even run your business. Like I've had an opportunity to see the back office, if you will, of how you run your business and how you are adamant, right? You are adamant about let's meet, let's sit, let's talk, let's get an opportunity to understand who each other is so that we can best serve one another.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think the powerful word in that is alignment. And the Lord
Right.
gave me a revelation this last week as I was doing a coaching session.
Yeah.
And somebody was just, about pulling on the anointing, when you're speaking and, the congregation, the people are just like pulling, they're hungry. Les Brown says, you got to be hungry. You got to get hungry.
Right.
Well, I'm telling you, this student was hungry. And he wanted to know, how did you make it through all the struggles? The being given 3 months left to live, being coming home from a ministry trip to finding your wife with her boss. Like, how did you make it through these things? And I said, the Lord told me that your identity comes from the Creator, not the creation.
Yeah.
And what I recognized in that moment was that I was called to steward my kids, my family, my business, everything. I was called to steward this way, and I was called to align this way. And so at one point in my life, I knew that my one and only assignment was my son.
Yeah.
I was called to be a father, and that was my and nothing aligned with my assignment, then I knew that it wasn't supposed to be. And so that's where it really started to kick off into the speaking and getting in there, because I fell into alignment with what the kingdom of heaven wanted for me.
Fell into alignment. I mean, that is so important. Alignment. I see so many people in the marketplace, entrepreneurship, and even in, corporate America, they're at the helm of their, company or department or what have you, but they're struggling. They're struggling to be effective. They're struggling to thrive in the area that they at first said they were called to. They felt that God called them to it. And I think one of the biggest reasons people are struggling is because of alignment. Would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of times that, when you come back to how you talked about transformation, I believe that stories are our seeds of transformation. And if we don't have alignment in our stories of who we are in God, all of our stories should produce some type of seed inside of us of identity.
Yeah.
Who am I? Who does God say that I am? And I believe that each of those stories are seeds of transformation that we plant inside of somebody else. Every story that you tell should have a point. Every story that you share should plant a seed of transformation in that person's life. And that all comes from alignment with the kingdom, with kingdom-minded people. You should have different spheres of influence of people around you, who you allow in your inner circle to come into alignment with. All those things are so important for our alignment to dictate the way that we grow and build our business, our speaking, our lives, our ministries.
Totally agree. Talking about influence, you have had the opportunity to build massive influence on major stages. What was the moment when you knew God wanted your voice to carry more than just success, right? And help you make money, but this was that thing, that tool that God gave you in order to carry his spirit into every sphere of influence that he gave you access to? What was that defining moment?
Yeah. A lot of times in the prophetic, a lot of times people are waiting for a new thing. Like they want somebody to speak a new word to them. Give me direction.
Right.
Well, I believe that the prophetic should be a confirmation of something that God's already told you.
Oh yeah.
So for me in this, when I got confirmation from the Lord of what I was supposed to be doing and turning from success into transformation, it was when I was on stage with Willie Robertson. And this was a great time to where I was on stage in front of over 1,000 people. Now, I was only at this conference to actually attend, but here I was. I found myself on stage as a top 5 finalist.
Wow.
In a dance competition. Now, let me just tell you, I don't really got the moves.
Okay.
I didn't get that from my kids. I am straight just slop when it comes to moves. But I'll tell you this. I know how to own the stage. I know how to own the room. And when you're firm in your identity and you know that you can shift things. And so here I am. I actually was in the top 5. I took my jacket off. I was swinging it around and around and around. You can visualize this.
Yeah.
I was having it. I was getting ready to throw it. And out of the corner of my eye, this kid comes running down the aisle. I mean, he was probably about 10.
Okay.
And can I be honest for a second? This is what I thought. I said, there ain't no way, boy, that you're coming up on this stage and you're taking this time away from me, because this is what the winner got, a time for one-on-one with Willie Robertson. He's one of my heroes. And I was like, no, you're not doing it. Not doing it.
This is my moment.
This is about me.
Right.
But as he got closer, I recognized something.
Mm-hmm.
I recognized my son in him. And it's because he had some mental health challenges.
Okay.
And so as he came up on the stage, I had a split moment of like, what am I going to do? And so as I swing in my jacket goes flying into the crowd, and I start clapping. And I grab the other contestants, and we come and we clap around him as he jumps into Willie's arms, and he won that dance competition.
Wow.
Now, I'd love to say there was a happy ending, that they said, oh, you know what? You did a great thing. You get your time with Willie Robertson, but it just wasn't true.
Yeah.
And so the conference was all over. I was walking around still talking to people, and security comes over and grabs me. I don't know. It's something about like an orange caution cone moving through the crowd. They're not hard to find.
Right.
And they come and they take me back to all the speakers. And this is what Willie and a couple of the other speakers said. They said, Devin, you know how to own the room.
Yeah.
You know how to own the stage. You know how to do it for the kingdom.
Yeah.
Don't ever lose that Father's heart, because it is what drives you.
Wow.
And that moment, like I knew it. I had been deposited the Father's heart from being miraculously healed by Jesus. I knew what I carried. But when you have confirmation from people that see it from the outside, I knew that I had to keep on going, and that I had stories. I had a heart to be able to deposit into other people. And so that was really one of the biggest moments that transformed me to continue to catapult up.
You were able to identify this moment. Would you say there maybe were many ways that you were able to identify it, but would you say by the Spirit of God, he kind of gave you discernment, like, hey, this is a moment I'm speaking to you? Or was it because of just what people said to you directly? What was it that actually made you discern this moment?
Yeah, I believe that it's following what Jesus's principles are of influence and understanding that Jesus was standing on a stage, drawing attention to him. I believe that so many people in the church are so afraid that, oh, it's all about you. It's all about you. You're prideful. You're arrogant.
Talk about
Heaven forbid we use that word narcissist. I mean, yes, there's narcissists out there. I get it. But not every person that stands on a stage or draws attention to themselves is a narcissist. It's just not true. And so what I felt was that God was calling me to be bold, to being courageous, to stand in the firm identity just like Jesus did. And he drew the attention to him so that people could see through him, through the cross, which is our only way to heaven, to see the Father. And if we have that, if we do that, and we recognize that inside of us, that Paul says, I will boast. He does say he'll boast.
Yeah.
To boast in the Lord. And so when we do that, there's nothing wrong with drawing attention to yourself as long as you give him the credit. But we get to say yes, or we get to say no. And so there is a part of me that gets to say, yes, I did that. And so I feel like that was the alignment. That was the discernment of God saying, you know what? I'm proud of you, son. And I'm going to put my finger down on this, and I'm going to say, I see you. I see you. And I'm going to tell it to you through different ways and people that you've seen. When I was on stage with Eric Thomas, I got to tell him, man, when I was going through hell, Eric Thomas's videos were the motivational ones that kept me going.
Yeah.
And I got to say thank you and cry in front of him and just say thank you for what you're doing. And it was so impactful. And again, another one of those touches by God to just say, I see you, son. I'm proud of you.
You talk so passionately about speaking, and I love that you made this point in the conversation here, that there is a context where you can accept the spotlight. You can accept that God may want attention to be on you, because in fact, it's really not even on you. It's when people's eyes fall upon you, what you're giving them, the fruit. And I like one of our viewers here who's already said it, inspecting the fruit. What you're giving off, right, is something that's kingdom, and it's something that represents Christ. And so when people look at you, they're not even really seeing you. They're seeing the message that God birthed in you through all of your hard times, all of the things you've had to overcome, all of the things that you've had to face. And I used to say it all the time, because I come from the world of production. I come from the world of entertainment. I come from that world. Worked in LA, worked in the Atlanta market, all of the above. Love film and television. Love it all. Love the stage. I used to say it all the time. I don't want to feel bad for loving to be the center of attention, because when I'm the center of attention, I'm casting the glory back to God every time. Now, there are some people who has not yielded their gift to God yet, right? And so they think it's them that's doing the work and all of that, and it's all about them. No, what we're talking about is when people look at you, when God gives you that anointing to draw the masses to you, what you should be giving them is fruit that has matured, mission, messages, things that have been birthed out of your trials that are true and authentic. What do you say to, because I want to dig deeper into that for a moment. What do you say to the people who are on right now? And I see a lot of people that I know, some people you may know, they're speakers, they're in this world of speaking or leadership. They've been kind of afraid to really shine. What do you say to that person? Like, how do you get them to go beyond this? And hear me, Devin, to go beyond this false humility, and to really just step into their grace and shine for God. What do you say to those people?
Yeah. So for any of you guys watching live now, or even in the recording, drop in the chat, what do you feel like is your biggest fear of stepping out, just so we can kind of see that. So what's the biggest fear? Drop that in the chat. But here's one thing that I want to encourage everybody, whether because I coach people that are they don't like to talk. They're very introverted. They're afraid of the stage. And I coach people that are overly extroverted, I can say. But here's the thing. You have 5 seconds when you walk into a room to set the tone of your posture, of what people think and see about you. And so there are times to where I walk into a room and I will never say a single word, but I'll have my head up straight. I'll have my shoulders back. I'll still walk with confidence, because did you know that only 7% of what you say, as in verbal words, is actually remembered? The rest of it is in your tone, in your posture, and how you move, in your confidence. And so recognizing that you don't have to say anything to walk into a room and own it. That is what The Bible talks about our spiritual atmosphere, that we can shift atmosphere by walking into it. And so I want to encourage some of you guys that are maybe afraid to speak up or share your story or to get on the stage, is when I get on the stage, and this is what I train my students, is, usually there's a row here, there's a row here, there's a row over here.
Right.
I want you to find a chair there, find a chair there, and find a chair there. Those are your 3 spots until you can find the one person that you are speaking to. If I'm speaking to 1,000 people, I'm finding that one person that's being moved to tears.
Yeah.
If I'm talking one-on-one conversation, I'm talking to that one person. And so as you're growing, as you're stepping out into faith and learning to utilize your voice more, never lose the heart that you are there to transform one life, one person, one thing at a time. And when you do that, you will see how that shifts the atmosphere of transformation. Because just like a seed, when you plant a seed, it grows up, it grows out. And when you plant that seed and you resonate with that one person, the anointing grows and it grows and it impacts other people. And you may not see the fruit in that moment, but that's not on you. That's not on me.
Yes.
That's on God to do that.
Right.
I'm supposed to be there to release what God has called me to plant the seed that God has called me to. And that's it.
Yeah, that's so, I love that you said that, because like my wife is on, and she's asked me over the years, because she's had the opportunity to hear me speak in different places and sing on stages, speak on stages, whatever. And so she's asked me, she's like, how are you just fearless? And what you just said is one of the main things I tell her all the time. And that I would tell any speaker, right? You cannot go in with the goal of, I want to see transformation in the person or the people that I'm talking to in the audience right now. Like, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to walk away feeling bad, because sometimes the transformation, the transcendent moment might not even show up or manifest in reality right there in the room. There are times where people cry and where people do all these things, but sometimes people just are sitting and soaking in what you're doing, because it's revolutionizing them internally, and you'll see the fruit later. So you have to be careful not to go in and see, if I don't move the crowd, in a certain way, then I've not been successful. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Let me share this quick story of something that just happened it was 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Paid to go speak at this event. I was emceeing the event. I get there. I didn't have any bios. I didn't really get to talk to the speakers beforehand. So here I am going up on stage with some Google and some ChatGPT bios of these people. And I have this on my phone. And here I am reading their names. And the first thing I did was I read the wrong bio. They're like, oh, that's not me. The second person that I introduced.
Right.
Wrong person again.
Wow.
The third one, I went up there. I'm telling you, I thought I had this one perfect. And little did I know, I was holding my clipboard and my phone. As I was holding my phone up there and I was moving the mic around, I was hitting the erase button on my Google Docs. And so I get ready to introduce this person. I know it's going to be perfect. Gone.
Gone. Oh my goodness.
So I was joking around with the crowd, but here's the thing. I beat myself up for a few minutes. As I was sitting down and things like that, like, oh, this is terrible. Like, I got one job, introduce people, make sure it goes well. I'm ruining it.
Right.
But here's the thing. I set the tone when I got on the stage.
Yeah.
Of this is who I am as a person.
Right.
This is what I do as a job or as a position. This as an MC doesn't define me. That gives me grace to be who I am. And so I got to reset myself of being like, hey, you know what? Let's just joke around the entire time. And you know what? People didn't even remember. And here's the thing for anybody who's speaking, because I see somebody wrote in there and said, Pastor Kenyon is flawless on the stage. Well, I know what? I'm glad that you said that, because he is flawless on the stage. To you, I guarantee you when he's like, oops, forgot that story. Oh, that was a wrong verse, I think. Did I say that right? Because we're trained, we teach ourselves that we're talking to somebody, you can't just stop and have a pity party
Right.
and move on. No, you don't. You just keep moving forward like it never happened. And guess what? Most people never remember it. They don't even think about it again. It's just in here. And one of the things that I think is so important is this thing that I believe that there's a stronghold of our mindset that's very powerful. But I think that God wants us to go deeper in the spirit realm. He wants us he wants to correct our heart set.
Wow.
If our hearts are in the right place, we'll never go wrong, because people will see your heart. They'll pick that up in the room. And so this gets in the way. You know, you talk about giving prophetic words, stepping out. You talk about praying in the spirit. You talk about all these different things, having a bad day. It's all here. It's not here. And the New Testament tells us to live out of a place of love of the Father.
Yeah.
And so when we do that, we can say things and there's grace with it. And we can mess up and there's grace with it. And no matter what, when our heart set is right, we will always walk in kingdom posture.
Right. I thank you to whoever said that. It is true. It is true. You sometimes say the wrong things, or you do the wrong things, or it doesn't come out the way you thought it. You were like thinking of it at home. It was brilliant in your back office, and then you get on the stage and you're like, what did I just say? But you can't freak out in the moment. You must be led of the Spirit, right? And you must continue to allow God to plow through you and move through you, irregardless of our imperfections, right, as humanity. Because sometimes our mind will get in the way, like you said. I want to go back really quick, because there was a few people who did answer your question, and I want to put this up on the screen. I had another question that I was going to ask, but I think it's best to go this route, Devin. You were asking what are some of the fears or some of the things that's holding people back from getting on that stage and from speaking in front of these crowds, because knowing that they have a gift and a calling to speak. I'm trying to find, here it is. It was my wife who said it. So Jasmine says one of her fears is, I don't know if it's still current, babe, but one of her fears was stumbling over the words and not being clear. Let's go to a practical session for a moment. Now, you do this for a living, so we're not going to extract too much. People will have to actually get into your mentorship and things like that to walk through really becoming the best speaker that they can be. Welcome into all of those people who are coming in. I just want to reset for a moment. Thank you so much. Tag, like, and share, and let others know that we are having this discussion. Welcome in over there on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Thank you so much. And those who will be listening on Spotify, welcome to the Global Leaders Roundtable. So what do you say, Devin, about that? Because I'm sure a lot of people think that. Am I clear? Am I stumbling over my words? How do I become more clear in what I say? Can you give maybe like one nugget that you've learned over these years of how to be clear?
Yeah. Do it imperfectly. Do it imperfectly. Like, the more you can get out there and do this, the better you're going to be. The more that you get on the stages, the more that you talk to people, the more clearer you're going to be. And you want to get to a point to where you can say what you want to say in between 5 to 10 seconds. That brings clarity, because that's really the people's attention span nowadays. And so when I when I worked on perfecting getting onto stages in 2024, I had what we call a big, hairy, audacious goal, a BHAG. Yeah. And that BHAG was to get on 100 stages in a year. And most people said, Devin, that's impossible. And I said, thanks for the motivation. And you know what? I know that I needed to practice. I needed to practice to be able to not become perfect, but to be able to step out and be able to continue to do it.
Yeah.
And so that meant that in order for me to get clear, I had to step out and do it. And so in 9 months, I was on 100 stages.
Wow.
And all of that was because I wanted to get so clear, so good, that I could hop on a show, not have any clue what we're going to talk about, and know all these stories, know all these points, know so in depth who I am, And I believe that if you take a deep dive with God and you come up with 3 pillars, this is what I train, come up with 3 pillars of who you are in different platforms. So for me, like on social media and in my life, but especially on social media, when I post things, there's 3 platforms or three pillars: faith, family, fun. You will always see those 3 things when I'm posting on social media, when I show up on stage, when you see me in person, you'll always see me. Those are the pillars of my life. And so if you want to get clear, find your identity in who God says that you are, and find out some pillars on what he's built upon the firm foundation so that you know what you are releasing.
That is so good. That is so good. I hope you guys caught that. I mean, he really just gave this away for free. Like I said, he does this every day, all day. This is his business. And I think it's impactful and valuable information that you guys can begin to implement right now. Those of you who know that you are called to speak. Okay, let's just take up role for a moment in the chat over there on Facebook and YouTube. If you know you've been called to speak, big stages, on small stages, put I speak. Put that in the chat. I speak. Maybe you've been called to be a writer. That's a form of speaking. Maybe you've been called to be an actor. That's a form of speaking and putting out a message. If you've been called to that, put I speak. I speak. Regardless of how you feel about it, if you think you're perfect, if you think that even what Devin just told you, if you think that it's easy to implement or not, you've got to get in the habit of saying, I'm a speaker. And I am someone, or one of the tools that God uses to be a mouthpiece in the earth to share messages that's going to help transform lives. You have to get in that vein and believe it. The more you say it, the more you will come into a belief in your mind and in your heart about it. So I love it. I love it. Okay. Here's what I really want to know from you, Devin. This world is noisy, okay? And we know social media is one of the places that is the noisiest, right? There's so much being said, so much, content that's out there. What do you say about how to really cut through the noise with storytelling? Because storytelling is one of my favorite ways to really bring a message to life. If you hear me speak, or if anyone has heard me speak, they hear that I'm telling stories all the time from the Bible, or I'm telling stories from history, or I'm telling from my own life. How is storytelling the perfect tool to really help cut through some of this noise and rhetoric?
Yeah, I'm sure that people have heard the saying is that facts tell, stories sell. That's not just a sales thing. That's an influence thing.
Yeah.
And we get all this because this is what Jesus did. So it's not like, we just created this out of thin air. No, Jesus walked around telling parables. And what did he do? His disciples said, bro, we don't understand the thing that you're saying. Help us out. And so he interpreted some of those stories to his disciples.
Yeah.
Other people had to wait. They had to stew. They had to allow it to germinate a little bit. So when it comes to storytelling, I believe that we need 3 parts. And this is all about social media. This is about anything that you do when it comes to storytelling. Number 1, we already talked a little bit about attention. This is going to be ABC. So if you're writing it out, it's as simple as ABC. Draw attention to yourself. Draw attention to yourself so people can see, hear, and hear, and notice that you are there. A lot of people feel like they have something to say, but they don't put anything out there. So draw attention to yourself. The second thing, B, is beliefs. Shift beliefs with what you have to say. With the story that you're telling, it needs to shift people's beliefs. And so when this boy came running up on stage on this dance competition, he had the audacity to think that he could change the atmosphere of that room. But you know what? He didn't allow the identity, the labels, the things that were put on him. He was telling a story by coming up on stage and saying, forget you all. I'm winning this. I'm drawing attention to me. I believe that I can do it. So attention, beliefs, and the last thing, C, is call to action. Give people something to do. So many people are telling great stories, but they don't know if anybody's listening. Why? Because there's nothing for them to do with it.
Yeah.
What are they supposed to do? It can be, follow me. It can be call me. It can be whatever you want it to be. Give them something to do. Give them something to think. Give them something to transform afterwards. And so when it comes to those stories, every story has to have a point. If you tell a story and it doesn't have a point, it's pointless.
Right.
Draw attention, shift the beliefs, and have a call to action on what you're doing. Those are the best ways to be able to be seen, to utilize stories, to transform a room, to transform people that are listening.
Guys, Devin's giving gold. Okay. I mean that. I'm serious. Devin is giving gold. If you ever wanted to know what it takes to be a public speaker and to be an effective one, he's giving things that folks don't really reveal. They don't, because they want to kind of keep the influence for themselves. But tonight, what did I tell you? We're talking to those people who are called to be influencers. We're talking to those people who are called to be kingdom agents and speakers in your field, in your industry. You have been called, and we're giving you the gold so you can go and be effective.
Can I share something on that quick?
This is good. Yes, please go. Yes.
Yeah. So this is why I believe giving away as much as you can is important, because I have been called to operate out of a place of overflow.
Yeah.
Are you guys called to operate out of a place of overflow? Are you always ready, in season, out of season? Are you always ready? If you are, you need to be operating out of a place of overflow. And that means that when things come out, that means my bucket, my edifice of this bucket of what prophecy, I won't go into all that, but there's this bucket. And so it's overflowing. Now it's dripping out some. Y'all are getting some of that. Now what? God's going to give me more. So yes, bless you guys. But it's about me. I want some more so I can keep on giving. And so I believe that the more we can give, the more we're going to receive. And that's why people that are like in the inner circle and do the mentorship and the coaching and things like that, they're getting fresh revelation. Yeah. I believe that there's revelation that is a now thing that God is doing right now in this moment. And then there's wisdom, which is past revelation that God is giving to us. And so that's where I specialize in that difference, or recognize that difference of, I'll tell you everything that you want to know. Why? Because I know God's going to take me deeper. He's going to take you and anybody that listen right along with us.
I love that, man. Wow. Tell us about Stories to Stages. Tell us about your academy and all the things that God has you really doing to specifically help people find their voice and to really help them get on stages and be effective.
Yeah, so if you check out our YouTube, you can see my story. I'm not going to go into my whole story about my son being given 3 months left to live, giving up over $100,000 to take care of him, and Jesus coming and miraculously healing me. And during that time, Jesus said to me, he said, you have given up the 99 to go and save the one. And now I'm going to give you the 99 to go to the nations and share your stories. So I had an opportunity to give what's called a Kim 10 talk. And this is a TEDx Christian version of a TEDx.
Okay.
Kingdom impact message in 10 minutes. And that's when I asked the Lord, what is my kingdom impact message? And that's what he told me. He said, I'm going to help you share 1 million stories across media. And that is the mission that I stepped into with Stories to Stages, is we're going to take your story. We're going to teach you how to be able to formulate it, how to be able to put a hook in it, how to be able to have a call to action, how to share it on a podcast, how to share it on stages. You then utilize our app and you can record it, or you can upload a recorded video that's like 10 minutes, and we edit it, we publish it out on all social media platforms, and we do that for you. Why? Because it's a mission that God has given to me to be able to help people get stories out there. And through that, in our Stories to Stages, my son comes home from treatment. He's been in treatment now for almost 4 years. And he comes home in August. So 2 months, he'll be home for good. And it's amazing. God has been doing some amazing things. And he comes into my studio that I just set up a couple months ago. And he said, Dad, are you doing TV again? I'm like, well, it's a little different. And he said, well, I want to do a show. I'm like, bro, you don't like to talk. You don't like people. What do you want to do? And this is what he said. He said, I want to tell people, I want to help people, and I want to tell my story. I want to help people who have gone through behavioral problems, who parents who are struggling. I want to help them. And I broke down into tears because while I'm on this mission for the world, God told me he would take care of my son. And while my son had no idea what I was doing, it was another one of those fingerprints by God that said, I told you, your legacy is not just all around.
Right.
I'm bringing it to your son. I'm bringing it through your kids. And so that is like the real heart of Stories to Stages, is to help people recognize that your story matters. That story is a seed that's planted of transformation. And so through that, then we help people go to the next level with my Influence Academy, where we help people be seen, heard, and get paid through social media, networking, as well as being able to get on the stages. And then I just also launched a podcast, a show called The School of Influence, where I unveil all these types of things, interview multi-millionaires and Miss Americas and all different types of influencers as to what the keys are to growing your influence. Because, you know, man, that it looks great on stage. It looks great on social media. But then there's a real life. And we struggle. I mean, we all got those things.
Of course.
And so what happens when you come up against that roadblock? Because we all did. Becoming a person of influence takes perseverance. And I want to help people not get stuck at the roadblocks. I believe that God calls us, 1 Corinthians or 2 Corinthians says, going from glory to glory to glory.
Right.
People get stuck in between glories and they don't know what to do. I want to help people grow in that influence to go from glory to glory to glory.
Guys, don't get stuck in between the glories. I love that, and I'm gonna take it a little bit, just a tad. I'll say Devin Schubert said it. Okay, I'll cite where I got it from. That's the professional thing to do. Listen, guys, he's already given what he's doing, but make sure that you guys are actually taking the action to connect with what Devin is doing. I vouch for what he's doing because I can tell what's real, what's authentic, and what is really moving the needle. I've been at this for a minute, and I can tell that you are genuine, that you are authentic, and you are really loving what you're doing, and you're called to do it. Guys, the website is on the screen there. www.stories2stages.com. His YouTube channel link is there as well for Stories to Stages. And then you need to follow him on Facebook as well. Make sure that you follow him on social media as well. Yes, he does have a podcast called The School of Influence. Like he said, there's the link there. You want to make sure that you go and check out that as well at School of Influence Show. I think that's the actual handle. So make sure that you go there as well. Brother, as we bring this discussion to a landing, I really want you to take a prophetic moment. And I want you to speak in the lives of those who are on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever they are listening in. You're in the room, right? Proverbially, you're in the room with, let's say, 100,000 people in the arena, and you're on the stage. God said, it's your moment, Devin. I need you to say something that's going to transform somebody's life tonight. What is it that God is telling you prophetically from the Spirit to say to the people tonight as it relates to our topic and our theme?
Yeah. Amen. Well, a lot of people will struggle in moments like this of knowing, but when you have had an encounter with Jesus like I have, when you've had encounters with the Spirit, you're always in tune to what he's saying. And for me, what Jesus said when I was on my deathbed is he said that you have a story to tell. You are a leader. And so I'd say to each of you guys watching, you're a leader. And you were created to be a legend. Legend is when you look behind you, there's all these people that are following, but also coming alongside of you. But you were made to leave a legacy. And what Jesus told me is don't take that legacy with you to the grave, because your legacy is your choice, and your legacy gets to start right now. And so go and make a difference, transform people's lives with the stories that you have inside of you, because that is the spirit of prophecy of Revelation 12:11. Go and do what Jesus has called us to do. Go and leave your legacy today.
Ladies and gentlemen, my new brother, Devin Schubert. Guys, give me some fire symbols, some clapping hands, some emojis over there in all of the chats. Let Devin know that we truly appreciate him for coming to the virtual round table to transform us with the wisdom that he's given, with the knowledge, the practical knowledge, and even with the prophecy that he just released unto you. Man, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time. This, to me, was worth it. I believe that, like I said, you've been on the schedule for a while now. And so I was looking forward to this conversation, and it was everything that I had hoped it to be. I wanted to incite a fire in the hearts of those who know that they have a voice, but they just need that extra push, that extra prophetic unction and encouragement to get out there and to do it. And you helped me do that tonight. I really appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. Can I add one more thing?
Please do.
Yeah. For those of you watching, you're watching for a reason. You're watching because you believe in this man of God. And so there's many different things that we can be able to do. We can sow, we can pay, we can invest, we can do all these things. But one thing that you can do right now is to be able to share, is to be able to tag people, because this is the way that you grow influence. And if you believe in what he's doing, let him know, like tell him how much you love him, not just his wife, but everybody else is watching, because that is a way that you can be able to support in ways that aren't just financial, in ways that are life-giving for the kingdom. You can make a chance to be able to pour into him by advancing the kingdom and partnering with him, with sharing and liking and tagging other people along with us. So I just want to bless you, brother, in what you are doing, because you're doing such amazing work. And I love watching you and seeing God do amazing things through you. So it's been an honor. Thank you.
Yo, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It is a push sometimes. And so to have somebody to come alongside you and say, hey, we're going to break into another realm of influence, it means the world. And I really appreciate that. Guys, I hope you've been blessed. I have. I really have. Devin, thank you for showing us that influence is not about being just seen, but it's about being sent as well. It's about making sure you answer the call fearlessly, right? And overcoming whatever barrier you need to overcome in order to be found obedient to God and to the call. Hang tight, Devin. I'm going to wrap things up, and we'll talk in just a moment. Guys, were you blessed? I hope so. I was thoroughly, truly blessed. And I'm so thankful for Devin, and for his love, and for his passion, and for the things that he's come through and overcome. It was for no reason. It was not for no reason that he had to encounter some of the things that he encountered. He needed to overcome those things and encounter them so that he could be in these type of moments telling people like you can do it. You have been called. So Devin, thank you so much for that. To everyone watching, you are not waiting on permission. Heaven already gave you the mic. Now open your mouth. I'm going to say that again. You are not waiting on permission. Heaven has already given you the mic. Now it's up to you to open up your mouth. All right. I'm your host, Kenyon R. Dudley, and this has been the Global Leaders Roundtable live. Until next time, lead boldly, speak with fire, and never let fear silence your assignment again. See you next time.